Hi, everybody. This is Stephen Williams. You're receiving this message either because you responded to one of my posts on a blog or you are on my email list. And I want to talk about something that's very serious that's going on because one thing that I've always done is I've always looked at the future. And because when you look at the future, you don't get yourself caught up in things when they change because it's always too late to change when when the new future starts to reappear. I always think about when my wife and I started our first company back in 1990, and we still own that business. That business that we started back when we were 20 and 21 years old has gave us many millions of dollars over the years, and we still own that business today in 2017 while I'm making this video. And the one of the big reasons why I also want to make this video is one of my employees came in yesterday and he was asking about retirement. Now he's 36 years old and he was talking about saving money, and he was like, he was like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to start. He was just asking my advice. And I was telling him, number one, I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they start thinking about retirement is they really don't know the big picture of what they want to do. What is retirement? Most people just think that retirement is about, having the money, which that is a very big important part of it. But I think where most people fail is that they don't understand that they have to actually plan how they want to live in retirement. And let me just give you an example for myself and my wife. We own 5 companies, and of those companies, probably 2 of them would be sold in the future. 2 of them would be passed down to our children, and then one of them is actually what we have a partnership with one of our children. So that one they would just take over 100%, which we've already in a way done that with her. And then we have real estate, and the plan would be to sell off those properties. And now these are free and clear. So when you have free and clear property, what happened to a lot of people in the downturn is that their property wasn't free and clear. So when they went to sell their property, the value had went down and they wasn't able to get the amount of money that they thought that they were going to be able to get, or they wasn't even able to sell the property. So it's very important, if you're going to have real estate, you need to prepare to have that free and clear real estate. So even if you were only able to get what you paid for the property, that would be able to go into your pocket. And another thing is we do stock market, but not the way that most people do it. And we mainly pick stocks that we with products and services that we use. One of our number one stocks is Facebook, and we have a lot of stock in Facebook. I actually paid Facebook almost over $75,000 just last year in advertising. So in a way, you could see that I'm investing in myself with Facebook by buying the stock and then also using the product for advertising. And but this is not considered a major one for us. Now, for him, what I told him is that for him, he has a rental property, a very small rental property, and he's making about $800 a month on that, but it's not free and clear. So I told him to get that free and clear, and then that would be one of the number ones on his list. And he said that he also had a 401k from a previous job. I said you could either roll that over and then continue putting money in there to let that grow, or he could get a mutual fund and then keep putting money and let that grow. And if he did that consistently, he wouldn't even have to worry about retirement. But then he said to me that he felt like he had to be active, that he still wanted to, he's a salesman with our company, so he's independent, so he would pursue that. And then he said he wanted to pursue real estate, but he was also talking about that he wanted to make sure that he was, excuse me, let me take care of that he was gonna, being active. And that's the thing that some people say, yeah, I'll invest money, but I want to be active. I want to be moving forward. I want to be in some type of business. I want to be doing something. And so we had discussed, and he talked about doing his real estate, and he talked about continuing to do work with our business, and also expanding his role with our business. And and then he would look at some other opportunities in the future. And so what I told him is that that's a good plan. And so now what I want to talk to you about is, let's talk about the future. Let's look at what's happening now. I got this sheet here, printed it out. You can go look online too. And it talked about the jobs that are going to go away in the future. So if you don't even have a job, there's no way to save money for the future, because you're going to be under complete stress all the time of being able to make ends meet. And number one on their list, where they were talking about any jobs that have to do with the power industry, that they're going to start letting a lot of people go. With utility companies, utility company engineers are going to be gone. Linemen, repairmen are going to be gone, because computers are going to take over that. Government jobs are going to go down. Public service jobs are going to go down. Other jobs were taxi and limo drivers, truck drivers, bus drivers. Gas stations are going to go down, because you already know why, because they're going to be more electric cars. Traffic cops, traffic courts, fewer doctors and nurses to treat injuries. The reason why on that is because if you've been seeing some of these movies where they show people getting put into like a little capsule, and then the computer analyzes their whole body, and then all of a sudden they, whatever needs to be done either gets done right on the spot, or it's going to be prescribed. That's what's going to be the future when it comes to medicine. And then also mail delivery drivers. You already know that that's going to be going down with the way that we do email, the way that communications is being done. That's going to be gone in the future. FedEx and delivery and UPS drivers are going to be gone, because they're going to be having that either with drones, or they're going to be having trucks that are driverless trucks. And we just saw, I heard someone on the radio saying that over 4 million jobs for truck drivers are going to be gone in the future. Now, teachers, this was one that kind of took me by surprise, but if you look at the movies, and the movies, what you see in the movies is the future. It's just training us to get ready for it and to accept it. But teachers are going to be gone. You're going to have a lot of online settings for schools. Trainers are going to be gone, because the computer, I saw some shoes that would actually, you put them on, run around, do all your stuff, and the shoe would actually tell you what you're doing wrong. It'll tell you how you're exercising. Excuse me 1 second. I need to cancel out something on here. The shoe would tell you what you need to do to train better. There were clothes that people were wearing, and it would tell them if they were training hard enough or training even too hard. So just imagine that. And it says professors are going to be going away, because a lot of this stuff is going to be computerized. Something else that took me by surprise. But when you think about how fashion is, I could see this happening. It said that you won't go to tailors to get your clothes fitted, because what you'll be able to do, and I've seen this machine, and also for dress shirts, I've seen it, where you stand in front of your tablet or your phone, and it scans you, and then that scan is sent to the shirt maker, and they make a shirt that's perfectly for your body. So even if one of your arms is a little bit longer than the other, that shirt is going to be put together exactly for you. And then they were showing the 3D printers where, I don't know if you saw this on 60 Minutes, where they actually made a gun from a 3D printer. And then I was looking on here, it had a woman's shoe and a shirt that was done with a 3D printer. So you can actually design something and then print it out on that printer and wear it that same day. So things are going to be changing, and we say to ourselves, well, will people really do that? Will people really do that? But I think that they will, because times are changing. Some other jobs that they said will go away is the way that farmers are doing things, the way that they're catching fish. A lot of stuff is going to change. So what I want to talk to you about is that one thing that I've learned. Well, I've learned a lot of things, but something that I've learned about being in business is that if you are in business, you have to, and I'll pull this down just in case you want to see some of this stuff. When you're in business, you have to be careful, because if you don't pick something that you get enjoyment from, more than likely you're not going to stick to doing it. And then also, if you don't pick something that has a system, especially when you're coming from being an employee to moving to being in your own business, you have to be very careful. Number one, you have to look at the system. You got to look at it for what it is, and you have to be honest with yourself. Is this something that I can see myself doing? If it's not something that you can see yourself doing, don't do it, because there's a lot of people. If you look at the stats, millions of people go into starting their own business, and almost 95% of them, even higher than that, fail within the first few months of starting that business, or the first year. And then by the second year, the rest of them, except for that 1%, make it. And so you have to be very careful. You have to pick something, number one, that especially if you're just now coming from being an employee, you need to pick a business that has a system in place, and all you have to do is say, if I could do this one thing over and over and over again and achieve success over a period of time, not overnight, over a period of time, by me remaining consistent, I could see, that nice picture at the end of the tunnel. Well, what I want to invite you to do is I want you to leave your name, email, and phone number. And when you do that and you click submit, I'm going to take you to a video of something that I think you should see with a company that I got involved with. And the reason why I got involved with it, number one, was because it was things that I was already doing. And remember, when we were talking about the 5 companies, you might as well change that to 6 companies. And one big reason why I joined it is because, number one, is I make money. I already spend money in that industry. Remember when I was telling you about with Facebook, how I'm spending over $70,000 a year in ads, and yes, that in turn my stock goes up, because I'm a stockholder, but I make a lot of money from that investment. With this company here that I'm about to introduce you to, I've been spending money for years and I never got anything in return. What it's doing now is just giving me the opportunity to, number one, get something in return. And then number two, from me being in business, I've had friends, family members, neighbors that see that I have a lot of freedom. They admire the cars. We've done a lot of work on our house. My wife, she stays at home. All of my kids are, they're doing well. So they sometimes, they'll ask questions about how, what do I do? And I tell them, and they always think about starting a business, and they'll ask me, what kind of business can they do? And I got away from giving people advice on what business to do. I've always just told them to pick something that you like doing and be consistent and grow that business. But a lot of people, when you think about it, they're coming from being an employee and they're moving to being an employer. That's very difficult, especially if you have to keep going to that job. It's very difficult. And not a lot of people have that educational and that motivational mindset and that internal motivation on the inside, that burning desire to make that transition. It's very difficult. And so I saw this business, and a good friend of mine has been doing it for years, and him and his wife have been very successful. And I looked at it and I was like, if this is something that I think that people that I know might be interested in doing. And so when you leave your name, email address, and phone number, it's going to take you to a video. And all I want you to do is look at it. And if you're interested, from there, you can sign up with the company. And then we're going to talk with you, and we're going to put what's called a system in place. Because if you don't have a system in place, it's going to be very difficult for you to make it in any business. Because remember, you still have to go to work. You still have the kids or family, bills, etc. to take care of. So if this new opportunity messes up any of that, it's just going to drop. It's going to go down. There's not going to be no money made. So what we do is, if you get involved with this opportunity, we're going to put a system in place and tell you to only do one thing consistently. One thing consistently. If you can do that, then you'll see that over time you can get to where you want to be in the future. So leave your name, email address below. And again, I thank you for watching this video, and I thank you for being a customer. If you're a customer of one of my businesses, or if just happen to just been invited by someone that's already in the business. Thank you.